Hey everyone, last week was a great podcast. It was really something unique. It was very personal. Me and Rocío, we were talking about our personal lives and business. There were a lot of questions that we didn't get to finish. And this podcast is a continuation of that. It's really special for me, and I know it was for Rocío. Take a listen to the second half of this podcast of Q&A. Okay, let's go on to personal dynamics. How do you balance your personal relationship with your professional partnership? Any tips for couples in business together, and any funny stories or challenges that came up working together?
Okay. Well, as I said, we put a lot of rules, or I put a lot of rules that you still struggle to follow.
What are some of those rules?
For example, that we don't talk about work after 6 o'clock. So when we arrive home, we have a little bit of time. We talk about like work and everything. And then at the beginning, it was very challenging because it was like uncomfortable silence for a lot of hours. Like we were sitting, and because something that happens with couples, and I think everybody will agree, that work together is you could have a great relationship when you work together. So it's exciting to talk about work and to talk about new projects and to talk about problems that happen and how are we going to solve it. So that dynamic, if you can do it like when you're having dinner in a restaurant, when you're having dinner with your kids, it's very easy to fall into that. But to talk about other things, like other interests, like, and that's another thing, right? Our interests not normally are the same. So the podcast that you listen, I don't listen, and the opposite.
Movies, shows?
Movies, shows. So it's hard. So that's one of the rules that when we are at home, like after 6 o'clock, we do not talk about work. So that's a very strong one. And then many times you are like, and you say something, and I'm like, can we see it tomorrow? Can we talk about it tomorrow? And it's hard. I see that you struggled, right? And I struggle too. But I think right now we found the balance. And even though sometimes when I jump that rule, I always come to that rule. So I will say that's very important.
I think having rules and structure. So one of the things we did over a year ago is twice a week we meet for 2 hours. So we designate Tuesdays and Thursdays to meet from 11 to 1 twice a week to discuss the items. And truth be told, most of the issues and things get resolved. And the 2 hours we're eating together, we're not really talking about work, or that 2 hours gets dropped to just an hour or just gets canceled altogether. It doesn't need to be rescheduled, right? And so I think having boundaries is important. So if you work with your partner, your romantic partner, and that partner is also your business partner, is to have rules and boundaries. And
a lot of communication. You have to be very honest, even though it hurts, because it does hurt. Like you have to say what you like about that person at work and what you don't like about person at work, because also ego plays a big part in this, and it's very easy to fall into that pattern, into just believe that you are something bigger than you actually are. So it's a lot of communication.
so that's something that I, just being vulnerable myself, that you pointed out to me, and I feel give you full liberty. What do you think about me and my ego? Like, honestly, tell everyone what you think. This is a vulnerable moment for
Podcast?
me. Yeah, because for me, this has been something that I've been working on this year, I would say, more so than ever. And it's tough. But
I
the
think
topic of
I think you created a persona, a different persona because I know the real Nick. The real Nick is more humble. The real Nick is more shy. Actually, it's shy. It's not that outgoing, and that the other persona that we created or you created for these businesses. And that persona has been incredible because he has brought the company where it is right now. But sometimes there is only a very faded line between the real you and that persona, and that's where I struggle. So when that persona takes over and we are at home, and I'm like, no, 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 no,
And
this is home.
the thing
So
that you mentioned is when our kids
yes,
mention it too
yes,
and recognize it.
and the
So
kids recognize it too. So it's a very complicated scenario, I think.
it is.
But we are every day learning more, every day trying to do it better. Every day, I also try to not be so stubborn and not so square in my thinking, because that's another thing about myself. I married a dreamer, and you married a person very down to earth.
Practical.
See, very practical. So I'm also trying to reshape my shapes, my thinking, and now we're here.
Well,
We're still
remember
trying.
like 4 years ago when Nizar was my coach and we had dinner. I think we had dinner with him, or it was a Zoom call. And you were struggling because at that point you accomplished everything that you wanted to accomplish as a kid. Your own house, money,
Married, kids.
house and cars and travel. And I think it's important to be a dreamer and to always have something that you have in terms of goals, right? When you achieve them, it's like, okay, keep dreaming bigger and
Well,
bigger.
the thing is, for me, I grew up with no money. We grew up being very poor. So I had my dreams, and my dreams seemed like huge at that moment. So you're talking about in my 40s, 45. At 45, I accomplished everything that I wanted. Even in my career, being someone accomplishing being working in a hotel in a very high position, and everything, as you said, traveling, having kids, marrying the love of my life, my prince charming. So everything was accomplished. But then I was like, well, I guess this is it, right? Like now what? And then I married, like I was with someone, that person is you, that is a dreamer, that you see the moon, and like you want to travel to Mars and to the moon. It's crazy. So I had to change my thinking. I definitely had to change my thinking, and that's another thing. That's another advice. You have to communicate and then learn from the other person, and then be able and be willing to change and to see it, I would say.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's all worth it, no? Because look what we've created, and I think it's also for me that's more the dreamer and big thinker is recognizing that it's not just about accomplishments. It's also recognizing, is that making you happy? Is that making me happy? Right?
Exactly.
And what is going to make me happy? Um, and not all of it is going to and has made me happy. But what does make me happy is if you're happy, if the kids are happy, if we're building something together, and it's just not my ideas and my dreams. So some of the things that you want to do, and it's a work in progress, communicating to one another, what is it that we want? What's the next chapter? What's the next, what we just this month we're discussing and putting into a plan and action is the next 8 to 10 years. What does that look like for us?
And that's another thing. Like as an advice, always put goals, and the goals need to be aligned and need to be set. And since the very beginning, say I like this goal or I don't like this goal, and then we both can work towards that. So, yeah. Okay, next question.
All right, now, a little lighter, growth and innovation. Okay, we're celebrating our 15-year anniversary next year.
In
as a
January,
company. Yes.
in a few days.
What are some innovative changes or services you introduced that you're particularly proud of? And what are some new things in terms of technology things in Ronival?
Well, I'm very proud to say that because of you, we are very technology oriented. So also in property management, we have a lot of systems that that help us every day to provide the best service to our clients. So one of the services that I'm very proud, and I was not my idea, it was your idea, is the delivery management. So the delivery management, so you want to explain a little bit about it?
Yeah, a department of the sales side of the company is development, and all the new construction, any developments where we exclusively represent. When we sell a property, there's a gap in the market from the signing of the contract and delivering the keys to the client. And the communication between the developer and the client, the buyer, is typically not as good as it could be. And so you and I discussed that internally in Ronival, we have the resources, the know-how, the expertise, the knowledge to apply a new service to the marketplace, which is delivery management services, which is an add-on service to our developers. And ultimately, it's something that will provide higher level service to the clients that we sell properties to, and the clients that the developers are building their condo or house for.
Exactly. So that's one of the services that I'm very proud of. That is still in developing, is still growing. So I really enjoy that, and I think every year, every year things are coming, and the market is changing, and you need to be adapting. So I'm proud to say that we adapt.
For us, it's with everyone is artificial intelligence and is coming this year. We've already been adapting and learning with artificial intelligence. And some of the things that we're excited about that the team doesn't know yet is having a structured approach and plan using AI for the whole company. And it's super exciting. The idea of AI, which all of us know about it, but few of us actually know how to apply it to its fullest.
Or if we know, we don't do it. So it's definitely.
So I think that's the biggest thing coming into the future for us. We've been, I would say, toying with it up to this point as a company, but not using it in all aspects of the company, myself included. And that's something that we can do a lot better in.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're on to page 2 already, and the next question is: what are your dreams for Ronival for the next 5 years, both as a company and as a partner? Let's go with that one.
Okay. Um, I envision we were talking about it, first to stabilize us, because we have had a big growth since 2010. Now is 2000, I mean 14, 15 years later, 25, 15 years later. And even this year, we had a big growth. We had
How many new offices? We had 3 new offices open.
we did 3 offices. So it's still growing. So for me, we'll be stabilizing the company. And
What does that mean for you?
no more growth in offices wise. However, there are a few projects there, and I know that I said this because I know that maybe some agents are going to listen to this and they are going to be like, what about my office? So, or even the ISA department, no? So there's still projects, and I think that's part of what we want to do, but maybe the growth is going to be more, not as having that like trajectory or that peak that already did. So that will be for me, that's what means stabilizing. And then, of course, bringing more clients for property management, more clients for sales, more clients for vacation rental. So more clients, definitely. And with the help of the technology, try to keep the team as big as it is now and continue to the growth, but with the same people that we have now.
Okay, so to optimize
Exactly.
the staff that we have. I agree. I think it's, I would say, yeah, let's optimize people we have and let's add more people. Why not? But, I think that's what we are constantly in debate on is how we grow as a company. I think what you say makes a lot of sense. And this year has been an example of if we didn't, let's say, add as many offices, it would have affected the company bottom line a lot better. But if we're operating a business for just 1 year, I agree to that. And I subscribe to that theory. But if we're in it for the long run, which we are, so in 5 years, we're still around. Ronival is even bigger and better than what we are right now. I would say for the next 5 years, what we're going to expect from Ronival is the existing business that we're in is going to be bigger and stronger, but we're going to be doing other businesses on top of that. So we already have a couple new businesses that we're working on. I'm really excited about that because for me, having something new and challenging is very important because that gets me up and excited. And the existing business and what we built up to this point is able to afford us to dream and do new things, right? Still related to what we currently do, but to grow, to do new things and to be excited and scared also, right? Intimidated, everything that each one of us always feels. But I think that when you feel that, you're on the right path,
You're alive.
right?
Okay.
How do you envision the role of property management evolving in the future?
I definitely think right now there is a lot of competition, and good competition is good. I think definitely there is enough business for everybody. So for me, it's creating experiences. That's how it should be evolving. Like it's not about managing a house or paying the bills, or it's more human than that. So it's the whole experience for the owner to have like a team, like a strong team in Cabo where they come and see their house. For vacation rentals is like the experience of coming and enjoying the properties, the way like the luxurious properties that we have. And if it is a beautiful condo and we can make the experience even more luxurious just by having and adding more services and experiences, I think that's where it's evolving for me. And we're working very hard towards that.
Next question. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start a business with their partner?
Okay, my advice will be, as I said at the beginning or a little bit during the conversation, it's to always have rules, to put those rules since the beginning because we did not do that. And there was like a moment that I was struggling a lot. And because of I was struggling, then you were struggling. So there was that intense moment, and that was probably a year or more that we did. So I will say set up rules since the very beginning. Know that working with your partner is not going to be easy. Working with anyone is not easy. So working with your spouse and the love of your life is not easy. It's not going to be easy, but it is possible, and it's incredible. At the end, it's incredible.
I think also it's important to what you mentioned earlier, which is communication. Always communicate what you're feeling and what you're thinking. And because it always changes, what you think or what I think or what I feel and you feel is different than a year ago, 5 years ago. And if I don't know that, sometimes I don't know what I'm feeling, thinking, and you too, right? But when you communicate to another person, it forces you to
Even
really
say, I don't know what I'm feeling.
right.
But I know that what I'm feeling is not normal, or it's a very strong feeling that I need to communicate to you, even though I don't know what is it. So I will say and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's going to be a very rocky path, but it's worth it. Definitely worth it.
I think also not only the communication, but the goals. Have goals. Because when you have goals, you can work a plan. Having a plan is so important because when life throws you curveballs and challenges, you question why you're doing what you're doing. But when you know that my North Star is that goal or set of goals, and this is the path to get to it, and maybe there was this setback, someone in the family gets sick, or there's a change in the market, or this employee leaves, or a legal issue, right?
Right.
You're like, you could put it into context, but if you don't have that plan, you don't have the goals, then you're in that moment, which is very dark and it's very stressful.
And when we say about communication, because communication is like, yeah, communication. I don't know how do you make it better. It's really to listen to the other person, what they are feeling, and to be open to change and modify what you're doing. And I need to say that about you. You are a very good listener. Every time that I brought like this crisis to you, to your to your attention, you are a very good listener, and you modify, you change, you adapt. So that's very. Thank you.
As we celebrate this milestone, what message do you want to leave your audience about love, partnership, and entrepreneurship?
What?
That's a very tough question.
Oh my gosh, that's
Well, I think the whole talk
Right.
was a message, but what I will say is don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on don't settle for the dreams that you had at one moment. That's also going to be changing. Continue working with love and with balance. And know that the best thing that you have in your business is your people, is your team. Know that they are there for you, that you are there for them, that we can work with happy all the time, the 8 hours. I know there is always going to be problems, but working with that set of mind, I think changes everything. Attitude, definitely.
I think a lot of the things we've already talked about. I think with love is something for me in a partnership, both romantic and business. It's there, but it can be overshadowed by many things in the moment, right? And it could be business, it could be personal situations, and not always good. But it's love that's the base to it all. And the base to the business, to the personal partnership, right? The marriage. And entrepreneurship is something that it's business, right? And business is really important. We can't survive without financial resources, and we're very fortunate.
Yeah, at the end, we are a business, right?
Right.
But as I said at the beginning, one thing doesn't have to be, how do you say that, peleado, or it doesn't have to be against each other.
Right.
They can work together, and at the end, many beautiful things can come out of it.
Thank you. This has been a great podcast, and it's been very different from any other podcast that we've done. And everyone, we wish you all the best for 2025. And if you're a client of ours, we hope that you're clients of ours for many years to come. And if you are interested in our services, let us know. We're here. We have 11 offices throughout Baja California Sur, and we really enjoy what we're doing. And we look forward to being in touch and seeing you on the next one. Until then, can you say it?
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.